podcast. I am Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. As always, I am joined by my strange bedfellow, the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Choops, how we doing, buddy?
You know a thing or two about that, buddy, don't you? It is a sleepy Thursday. I think we're both a little drained from the work week, but we're going to talk some AEW today and have some fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a sleepy day. It's just more of a vibey day. You know, we're just having a relaxed. It's okay. Well, I mean, I am too, and okay. Well, you know,
always
up a little bit. Always. There you go. See, just like that. There you go. There you go. Yeah, real quick, as always, welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. If you're new to our channel, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. As always, hit that QR code in the top left corner. Like, share, subscribe, help us to get those numbers up. We have got a lot of great stuff coming. We have the definitive Rico Gonzalez interview dropping tomorrow. There are clips of that on our Twitter page, as well as our official Instagram and our Facebook page. So yeah, check that out. We're really excited for this interview. Thank you once again to Rico for joining us. And yeah, I mean, it's as we kind of march towards the end of the year, man, it's been a hell of a ride for the Wrestling Junkies.
It's been a good year so far. I think we have an announcement coming up about a show towards the end of the year, but we will hold off on that until the details get ironed out. I know we have a couple calls that we may need to make. One down in the Poconos that we may have to acquire a talent to go get, but we will hold off on that until we know that he's available. I know the Wi-Fi is a little iffy down there.
There's that contract biting me in the ass again.
You signed it.
All right. Anyway, let's talk Dynamite, man. The Continental Classic continues. We had a match 40 years in the making. Timeless Toni Storm defending her AEW's Women's World Championship. Let's just get into it, bud. Couple of great matches. Let me just get my notes up here. And as always, we have full results down below because I never forget that stuff. Yes, I do. So we kicked it off with Jon Moxley and Rush in the Continental Classic. I mean, what more can we say about Jon Moxley? He's just really good. He's untouchable like Elliot Ness. Rush is just, Rush is a class talent too. I mean, it was a fun match. I loved every second of it. What'd you see?
Yeah, there's, we kind of harp on maybe the Continental Classic and the tournaments thing is a little bit too much, but it's giving guys like a Rush, like a Brody King, an opportunity to kind of shine as single stars. And I think those two have made big strides in this, especially Brody King. Like Brody King's had a very strong tournament, and I like the opportunity that they're getting. So they did announce on the broadcast, I don't know if you heard, that the Continental Classic will be back next year. So it seems like this will continue to be kind of their it's their G1, for lack of a better term. The way Tony's booking philosophy goes and how much influence he has with New Japan Wrestling, this seems like it's going to stick around as long as AEW is around. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, I'm not crazy about the volume of tournaments that AEW has. I mean, and I've been very vocal about that. I do. One thing I will say that I have enjoyed about this tournament, I have enjoyed the round robin style, just because we have gotten to see a lot of just different matchups that we probably would not have seen on AEW TV, or if we had, they would be meaningless, no stakes, and probably not as good as the quality of what we're seeing. The problem that I still have with this tournament are the stakes themselves. Because, again, they were trying to roll 3 titles into one to be defended across 3 different promotions, which means Ring of Honor no longer has a world heavyweight champion. And it just doesn't sit well with me at all.
I mean, we don't know that. I don't know. The winner of this may just carry all 3 titles. We don't know. So
But even then, that's just like, okay, well, I mean, do you break these titles up then in the end, or are they all just kind of still a package deal? Like when Impact had 2 belts for their world championship. I mean, like it just I don't know.
Yeah, it
seems like a lot to me. That's what.
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's something that they're going to have to, I think, address and make a little bit clearer. Like, is this going to be rolled into one title? Is this all 3 champions being defended across the brands? Like, what is this? But overall, I think the matches have been good. I don't think you can say anything about the matches. They've all been quality, very good matches. And yes, fresh matchups that we've gotten to see. We've seen a couple of the bigger stars kind of dominate, which I think as this tournament can kind of go on, we're going to see that one underdog kind of continue to catch some wins and eventually one year win the tournament. But I think it's good to establish like the top dogs to win the tournament this year. It'll be interesting to see how they do Swerve and Moxley next week. Like, is there going to be a definitive winner? Do they go to a draw? Like, what's going to be? Do you beat Swerve clean? Do you beat Mox clean? Like, who can eat a loss? Like, that's the fascinating part about next week. But overall,
for sure,
I would say so far, I think this tournament is a success.
Yeah. Like I said, I have not. Now that I've gotten to sit down and actually enjoy the tournament for what it is. Yeah, no, I'm having fun watching. Again, for me, it's just the stakes, and then a couple of points I'll make later on as I talk about a couple more of these matches. I've got some concerns about people that did take losses last night. So moving on to the next match, Swerve Strickland defeats Mark Briscoe, earns 3 more points, so he is tied with Moxley. To go back to talking about the draw, I think a draw. It would not surprise me if that match does go to a draw next week, because they're making it very clear that you can get 1 point for a draw for a reason. Mm-hmm. So it would not surprise me if that becomes a story factor later, especially if you do decide you want to run it back with Mox and Swerve, which, let's be honest, you should probably consider running it back with Mox and Swerve. Shout out to Mark Briscoe in this match. Even though it is just horribly unfortunate why he's a single star, they're using him, and he has a genuine connection with this audience and with this crowd. The question that I have for you is, does this loss devalue Mark Briscoe as a Ring of Honor superstar in any way?
I don't think it does. I think Mark Briscoe is one of those, lovable guys. We talked a few days ago about a Sami Zayn, right? And how Sami Zayn can eat a loss and be fine, and the crowd continues to love him. I think Mark Briscoe's in that role. Like, Mark Briscoe doesn't need to be your world champion. Mark Briscoe doesn't need to be your TNT champion. Like, Mark Briscoe can kind of be a guy that gets a win every once in a while, but when he loses, he's just going to keep garnering more sympathy. Like, I don't think any of the losses have hurt him. Now, somebody else in the tournament, yes, but this one is not the one I thought you were going to. Mark Briscoe.
Are we going J squared?
Yeah, Mark Briscoe, I think, is just, he's untouchable. So he's always going to be beloved by the crowd. He had a great showing against Swerve last night. I think one of the better matches of the tournament. And it doesn't matter what you do with him. I think he's bulletproof.
Okay, that's fair. Let's move on to that next match. Jay White, Jay Lethal. Obviously, Jay White's one of the best in the world. Jay Lethal is class act as well. I mean, you knew it was going to be a fun match. You knew it was going to be a high flying, great pace. Like, it was going to be a enjoyable match. We knew that for sure. Jay Lethal does lose. I think based on his record as well as Mark Briscoe's, I think they're both mathematically eliminated from actual contention and advancement in this tournament, which is what it is. But you don't see. I mean, would you feel? You've also said that you feel like this does hurt Jay Lethal to some degree, and definitely want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Jay Lethal is one of the more underrated wrestlers in the world right now. I think he is, like, if you go back a couple years, and yes, he has slowed down a little bit. I mean, the guy's been around since TNA was started, so he's been around for a long time, 20 plus years as it is. And sorry about that. I don't know if you picked that up outside. Somebody's revving an engine, but flustering me all up. Come on now. And like, his Ring of Honor title run, when he had that run, and he was, it was really good. Like, I thought he was going to be WWE bound after that Ring of Honor world title run, and that just never really happened. I think Lethal is one of the better wrestlers of the generation. And when we look back at it and go, what he was able to do with the X division, to go to Black Machismo, to then go to this real serious character in Ring of Honor, and now kind of be where he is now. I would like for him to be more into that mid-card title picture, rather than kind of this undercard with Jeff Jarrett and Satnam Singh and kind of this comedy role, even though he does it very well. I would like a little bit, maybe before his time is up and before he hangs it up, one more kind of substantial title run. And it doesn't have to be a world title, but just a nice little mid card run for him, because I think he is very, very talented.
Yeah. So you don't see any. There are no Ring of Honor superstars that are advancing or having any serious movement in this tournament, even though their world title is one of these titles that is at stake in this tournament.
No, Ring of Honor is a dead brand. Don't.
But it's
don't
still
act
a brand,
like,
though.
But don't act like it's important. It's not, and that's us being that's us having a conversation. But it's not. It's not like that. It's not like they've put in any effort to promote Ring of Honor, to make it a big deal. They haven't, because if you would have done like a champion versus champion match at a Forbidden Door or something like that. You could say the same thing about New Japan, because there are no New Japan wrestlers in this tournament, even though a New Japan title is on the line. So I don't like, this is for an AEW Continental title, whatever the hell that's going to be. Like, you're going to want to focus on the people that are in AEW. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like, Ring of Honor's dead. It is what it is. Like, it's not anything important. And I may be on the wrong on that. I may be, but you can't tell me that this company has gotten behind a Ring of Honor to make it feel important when you throw their world title into a tournament, when you have a pay-per-view coming up, and the title's not even going to be on it. So that's where I'm at with Ring of Honor.
That's fine, and that's fine. I hear you when you say that, but that doesn't mean they couldn't have changed that perception here, which is what it is. They could have. That's all I'm saying. Tony Khan's taking lessons from Vince McMahon. Yeah.
Who would you consider the Ring of Honor talent in this tournament? Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal. Eddie Kingston, since he's the world champion.
Yeah. Roosh to a degree, just because I know that he does some stuff on that tournament, but I think those are the four that I would probably just. Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying he also does a fair amount.
So I would say pick any of those three. Are they beating John Moxley?
No.
Are they beating Swerve Strickland?
They are not.
Are they beating Jay White?
Jay Lethal could have,
but he didn't. When you make them feel like they're not important, and you have top stars from AEW, those are the three that represent the Ring of Honor. Like, and that's nothing against those guys. It's just how they've been booked. You cannot tell me that they were legitimate threats to win this tournament. They were not on the short list to win this tournament. There's no way.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also the beauty of round robin tournaments such as these, is because it is all based on a points total. You never know what the hell could happen. At least make me believe that there is a possibility of it, is what I'm saying.
You're using logic. You're using logic. Like a Brian Danielson is not losing to a Mark Briscoe. I'm sorry. It's just not happening.
It's fine. That's fine. How do you feel about Brian Danielson finding people for social media use?
It's interesting. I think there's a fine line with how this is going. I think Tony Khan needs to keep an eye on this. That's just me. I think with an active talent kind of hitting that head disciplinary role, you want to make sure that he's not playing favoritism. There's no preconceived issues that pop up. There's not anything like that. Like, I would say tread lightly on that, because he is still kind of active. Thank you for watching, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, as always. Thank you.
Like, I think Danielson is going to be great in a backstage role, but tread lightly for right now, because he is still technically an active competitor wrestling, and that may rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, and I happened to see this on Twitter earlier today, and I don't know the context of it, but Mike Santana retweeted an article about that, and it was either an inference that he disagrees with the rule or inference that he was somehow also affected by this fine. I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth. That's not, I mean, I'm not going to speculate, but it did seem like he was alluding to something in his tweet about this fine. So it remains to be seen. I mean, I don't know. I agree with you that it's a fine line, but if I can put the lawyer hat on for a second, independent contractor status leads me to believe, okay, like how much can you really do or say about their social media usage? If it's that big of a problem, instead of going right to fining somebody, WWE spends copious amounts of time, money, and effort to coach people on media training. Are you saying that the president and CEO of All Elite Wrestling, who happens to be the son of an NFL owning team, doesn't know how to come up with any sort of media training that all athletes go through as rookies, and they can't come up with something other than we're just going to fine you for your social media usage? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a very good NFL team. They just lost to John Browning on Monday night, so like let's not get crazy.
Put some respect on Jake's name, all right?
Sorry.
Or this conversation is going to be a conversation.
I at least got the first letter right this time. I'm learning.
It's a mighty fine. It's a mighty fine looking high horse. How many you got left in your stable?
I got 10 wins. How many do you have?
6. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
And kind of a totally different note, but I think somehow related to what we're talking about, is I saw an interview with Tully Blanchard. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If I find it, I will retweet it and give credit. But the interviewer asked him, hey, what do Kenny and the Bucks do as EVPs? And he flat out said, I have no idea. So take it with a grain of salt. That's Tully Blanchard. However, he has been with AEW.
Sure.
We have seen not a power struggle, but almost like a lack of, not discipline, but a lack of control at times with AEW. So
yes,
having Danielson maybe be that well-respected disciplinary could work. It could, like just how Taker was in the WWE locker room. Like, is Danielson at that level? Does he get that respect? I don't know. You don't know. We're not in the locker room. Is everybody going to be okay with this? We're going to find out, because AEW's contracts are structured so differently than what a WWE does, because they can go out and do other things and do other promotions. So like trying to limit what they do on social media is going to be tough, because I don't think their contracts are as ironclad as say a WWE contract, where they can kind of dictate, hey, this is what we want to see, when you kind of have this, I don't want to say laissez-faire, mentality in AEW, but you have a little bit more laid back mentality in AEW.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, we're never going to know. I mean, unless and until AEW suddenly becomes a publicly traded company where they have to disclose certain things, part of litigation and things of that nature. I mean, we're not going to know. But now that we've talked legal jargon, now that we've talked logic,
I think that was good. I think that was good. I think that was a good conversation. I enjoyed that conversation, because
it's always a great conversation.
But I think I enjoyed it because you got to kind of pull out the lawyer hat and kind of not, talk down to me, but educate me on like how you see it from your perspective as a lawyer. Like that I think that's really good perspective as somebody that does this for a living and can look at it from a different angle than just a wrestling fan. Like take yourself away and go, okay, this is my job, and this is not kind of what they're supposed to be doing almost, but kind of here's why this could be an issue moving forward. So I appreciate that perspective.
Sure. Always. Now, I want our listeners and our viewers to get your perspective on something that you boldly declared last night as we watched this segment go down. You have a very strong belief as to who the devil is. Now, if you would enlighten our audience.
Okay. I'm sitting there like,
Please
what did I say? What did I watch? What did I say? I couldn't remember. Yeah. So, there's been a guy missing from AEW since All Out, right? And he made a comment and had a scuffle with Phil and has been gone ever since, right?
Yes.
Before that, he was in a feud with MJF, where MJF didn't take him seriously, where MJF didn't really pay attention to him. in the 4-way. Like he was like the kind of the afterthought. Didn't get the special entrance, if you remember. Nothing. All the other three did.
Yeah.
He did not.
Dude, so, and we kind of thought the same thing in the build up to that match, that he just looked outclassed and outmatched on the mic. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And then in the match was going to use the title, and he didn't. He had that fight with himself that it didn't. Inner conflict was the word I was looking for. That he didn't do it. Then eventually he turns, right? And then he wants to retire the FTW champion because it's not a real champion. And then we have all of, for me, I think the biggest clue that I'm seeing so far is all of the glass references. When the Acclaimed were attacked, Anthony Bone was thrown through a glass window. MJF was just attacked with a beer bottle, which I think kind of leans you towards Hangman after that confrontation they had. But again, a glass bottle. So me kind of looking through and who could be the devil? Who haven't we seen in a while? Who could it actually be? Like Adam Cole, I think, is still up there. I think a Roderick Strong might be in there. A Kyle O'Reilly, maybe another one to guess. But I think a wild card in that is Jack Perry, because he does have the history with MJF. Yep. He did turn heel. He has had the issues backstage, and we don't know where he's been. He's been suspended for a very long time, like 6 months at this point, right? Something like that, or 4, or however long it's been.
Close.
It's been a long time since we've seen him. He's made a couple social media comments on MJF stuff like that. I think it's, for me, I think if I'm a betting man right now, I would say Jack Perry is your devil.
Yeah, and even though there have been reports that he filed with Mike Dawkins to trademark Jungle Boy, the moniker, possible red herring, just to kind of throw off and give us an idea of what he may want to go back to doing once he comes back. But yeah, no, I mean, he's been off TV a while. I mean, I don't even think the Bucks were gone more than 90 days after Brawl Out. I don't think, anyway. So yeah, it's been a while since he's resurfaced. It could be interesting. Let me ask you this now. How did you feel knowing that we didn't get that tag team match? Or are you surprised? Or
I'm pretty happy with it, because I don't know how they were going to book that, right? Like you have the Retribution Aces and Eights group coming out and trying to, there's another one. Could it be Devon? Could it be Devon? We know Devon liked drinking the beer with the Aces and Eights.
It did.
It's not Devon. If it's Devon, AEW is dead. If Devon is exposed as the devil, AEW is dead.
Don't say that. You're gonna have all the pitchforks pointed at us now.
If you can look and watch AEW and Devon is revealed as the devil, and you're like, I'm gonna see where this goes, you're an idiot. It's a joke, but you're an idiot. What was I gonna say? You got me all. I got all flustered because Devon's here. Anyway, yeah, like I'm kind of happy they didn't put on the match, because it doesn't really fit that style of the devil henchman, right? Like, are they really gonna sit there and do a tag match? Like, they're gonna wait on the apron and do the clean tags and actually have a tag match, and we're actually gonna get a legit match. Like, that would look a little silly, right? I mean, that for me, I think that would look silly if they were in a normal tag match following tag rules. So I'm okay with it. It is a rare advertised match that didn't happen, and that is now playing into the sports entertainment aspect of what AEW is doing, and then kind of what we talked about. Was it last week or earlier this week? I can't remember. All the days are running together. That like they are blending both. And I think they need to pick one and stay in that lane. I think if you're going to be a wrestling company, then do the wrestling. If you're going to be a sports entertainment company, then you need to do that, because we got a little bit of that in the main event too. So,
sure. I was going to say, the only other thing I think that'll add to this is, let's not forget, and we still don't know whether this is a work or shoot, but I mean, Max beat himself up at Full Gear. Okay. So at least as far as we know, there's a possible torn labrum. that, he is trying to avoid surgery at all costs because, again, there might be the worry about adding injury time, how this affects any free agency period that he might enjoy in 2024, and he's trying to actively avoid that. And it seems like, if that is indeed the case, that is an appropriate use of this storytelling trope here. I think if it means trying to get to your last show, your last pay-per-view of the year with your world champion as healthy as you can possibly get him, because that the old adage is get the match in the ring. So if this is the way to make sure that he's able to do that at World's End, that's totally fine.
Do you think Joe wins the title?
But I would agree.
Do you think we're going to see a title change with this injury news or with it? I didn't mean to cut you off. I
still want to say no. You're fine. I still want to say no. I still want to say no because this devil story is still lingering in the background. And like you said, I think that there is more interest in those that are around Max's orbit more so than Samoa Joe's orbit. Acclaimed only got attacked because Max Caster's relationship with Max Friedman. Okay. And then we see MJF get the beer ball. So that's what I'm still thinking there. I still think that, this might still be somewhat to their detriment. I do think that they're still going to try to continue as best they can with an MJF World Championship run.
Okay. What did you think about the match not happening?
It's fine. I mean, and I heard this was on I think this was What Culture with Wilborn and Andy Murray this morning. But let's put that logic hat on again. Let's say this match did get in the ring. Collar and elbow, right into a headlock, pull off the mask Scooby-Doo style. Doesn't make any sense to do the big reveal in the middle of a tag match that has next to no stakes in it, unless there was something to further advance this story. So
which is kind of what my point was. Like, they're going to sit there and do like a basic tag match. Like, no, they're not. So
no,
I'm okay with it not happening. The match that I think you didn't think was going to happen actually did happen last night. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah.
I thought it was a good match.
It tracks for a finish. Yeah, no, it was a great match. The shenanigans at the end don't surprise me in any way, because either way, it still sets up one final clash. I mean, Shayna Wayne has every reason to kick Christian Cage in the balls, but then again, Adam Copeland can chair to her little boy. So I think that's more. Whether it's more of a like, I acknowledge you, daddy kind of thing versus you messed up my son's neck and you hurt my baby. How could you bastard? That remains to be seen until she actually makes it to the ring next week. But,
dude, I cannot wait until they make out in the ring, in the middle of the ring next week. That is going to be fantastic. Do you know who's on the show next week too?
The Von Erichs.
Oh my God. You think Christian is going to cut a promo?
Oh God!
Please.
If you're asking me that question, legit, I'm going to say no to that.
Oh, I'm going to say yeah.
Mostly because it's still the building towards the Iron Claw release.
No. Christian,
I don't know. That's just my
grab the turtleneck, buddy. He's coming, and he's got a new hot babe around his shoulder. Don't you worry.
I mean,
we had you made a bold statement the other day about Timeless Tony Storm, who was on the show, had a great segment. Again, one of the better characters in AEW, and you said she was the best character in AEW in wrestling. And I said, "Oh, hold on, she's the best character in AEW, maybe not wrestling." I think Christian's the best character in AEW, and Christian might be the best character in wrestling right now. He is on the best run of his career. And it has been
I gotta say I am impressed with what he's done. I stand by what I said, but this finish does add a new layer to this just very very unconventional family that Christian is cultivating here.
Fantastic,
I mean, it sets up World's End.
Yes, it does. I think we'll get Edge, Adam and Christian again. But I can't. Like, Christian is just like one of the best heels in the world, and I love what he's doing. Copeland, I think, had a good showing. Like this was probably his best match in AEW so far, and it's good to see that.
Sure.
Oh yeah, he can still do it. And those two, I think, definitely left
Yeah.
a lot of meat on the bone. I think eventually we will get a ladder match between these two, probably a TLC, just to finish that story.
I thought you said probably at TLC.
No. Probably
that's what I thought I heard you say.
TLC.
Yeah.
Well, they need 12 pay-per-views, maybe.
So do you, yeah, that's what I was going to ask is, do you think that we get a gimmick match at World's End? Because I think it was Russell Pierce. I saw this on Twitter. A January pay-per-view is in the works for AEW. Sounds like we're going right to the 12-month calendar.
It's happening.
God, we watch a lot of wrestling,
and not even all of it. That's like we're focused. We focus on the main two companies, and there's so much more. Like Ring of Honor, haven't touched.
Yeah, I'm a big GCW fan too.
Yeah, if I have the time, I will watch it. Like an Impact, I've
been trying to give you my fight subscription for ages now. I'm telling you,
I haven't. I have no time. You try raising two kids.
You can't just kind of, hey guys, watch this.
Okay.
I'm not even going to try to pretend that I know what it's like.
Come over. Come over. Sit them both. You want me to go get them right now and show you how hard that is to get them to sit in your lap? Don't piss me off.
Hey, easy there, Angry Bear. I was just messing with you. It's fine.
No, but yes, like there is a lot of wrestling. It's very good. AEW needs to continue to be good. I think I've said it before. Like next year is a very big year for them, and I hope they do very well because WWE is just firing on all cylinders because they have this competition, and AEW is just going to continue to do the same thing. Signing a Will Ospreay, signing a Jay White, like they are getting the big international stars. Do they get an Okada like that? It's AEW being successful is fantastic for wrestling. They do need to run smaller buildings.
Yeah, I mean it's
it's noticeable.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and we've seen that from experience. It's again, we're not here to try to tell Tony Khan how to run his business or anything but it would benefit them just to because think about the show that we went to, which was a double taping. That crowd would have looked amazing inside Cintas Center or Fifth Third Arena, where they first did their shows. So that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, especially if you run smaller arenas and knowing that you give people this one chance to see this one massive stadium show overseas. And then they do another stadium show every September with Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium. But I don't know, for whatever reason, it just seems like as of late, the attendance just hasn't been there. And aesthetically, it's more pleasing when you got, butts in the seats.
And the thing is, too, and this is basic business, you run smaller arenas, you can raise the ticket prices. I mean, we got floor seats to Dynamite for, I think, $100 each. There's no way I'd get that for WWE, ever.
No.
So, it's my nosebleeds for SummerSlam we're not going to talk about that, but it's just. Yeah,
and then even Fastlane, we were literally at the top. I mean, yeah,
they were great.
We were behind the spotlight, guys.
They were great seats.
Yeah, they were. I loved it. Yeah,
I know you did. You kept saying that.
Yeah. Also, SmackDown in April.
Oh yeah, we're going for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
I need to see Randy Orton. I haven't seen Randy in a while. CM Punk's on SmackDown. You gonna watch? I know that's your favorite wrestler.
Okay, you don't have to go there. Are you going to
watch?
You don't.
CM Punk's on it.
I don't know. I don't know. I might have plans this weekend. Leave me alone.
Nah, you're going to watch CM Punk. You can't miss favorite Phil. It's right there.
You're just so determined not to be cool about this.
There. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You pounded into the ground and saying you would not mark out if he came back. And what did you do?
I didn't necessarily mark out.
What did you do?
Oh, shit, hell froze over.
Yeah.
a hell froze over sort of thing. I didn't see it live. I heard about it. It was spoiled for me, so I didn't necessarily get to see it live. But you can't help but observe that, yeah, the reaction does give you chills when he returns. That's all that I'm saying. Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty, buddy. Anything else from AEW? Looking forward to Collision.
SantaCon,
Kenny Omega's on it, isn't it?
Again, SantaCon.
SantaCon?
You never been to SantaCon?
Does it look like I've been to SantaCon?
Okay, so
does it look like I know what that is?
Cincinnati is hosting SantaCon this year. Once a year, it is just a giant Christmas-themed bar crawl. Bring out your Santa suits and your ugly sweaters and just go and paint the town red and green. And yeah, I'm gonna enjoy SantaCon.
All right, have fun. I will not.
I will.
I think I'm gonna watch that.
I know. And oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Crosstown Shootouts this weekend too.
Yeah, UC better win. I know this is a wrestling podcast, but UC needs to beat Xavier. About time.
Yeah, Bearcats disappointed me pretty bad when I went to that Kansas game a couple of weeks ago.
That's football. Basketball, we're pretty good this year. We haven't played anybody, but
you know what? Okay, you know what, jackass? Look,
don't call me jackass.
I just did. What you gonna do? Do they can barely sit.
Yeah, they do.
In your lap long enough. You think they're sitting long enough to watch me?
It's fine. I'm gonna bring them to your apartment. I'm just gonna drop them off. I'll be back in 3 hours.
No.
Yep.
Just so we're clear, I am not that friend. Never have been that friend. Not gonna be that friend.
Oh, you are. You're gonna live a day of my life.
Absolutely.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'm not. No, I'm not. Mm-mm. Nope.
Take
like there would have to be a wager of epic proportions for me to even remotely consider that.
You couldn't watch them for an hour. You couldn't watch them for a half hour.
Again, wager of epic proportions. We'll talk about it. Okay?
We will, because that would be a good segment. That would be a real good segment. Be good for the socials. You always want to boost our social numbers. Speaking of our social numbers, go follow us.
Yeah, we have to. Seriously. Good for you. Code. Right there. There we go. There we go. Acknowledge it. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for enjoying this edition of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. As Troops polishes up his brand new shiny World Heavyweight Championship, the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, because we know it's not the WWE one, and I know that you'll get all boo-hooey. Right? So, anyway. Good to see you, my friend. As always, like, share, subscribe. That Rico Gonzalez interview drops tomorrow. We got a bunch of brand new content coming.
Go watch that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got 3 episodes of Stump the Smart that will be coming tomorrow, just because it's been a long week. Shoot jobs, do no jobs. So for the podcast, Dad, I am Mr. Cincinnati. This has been the Wrestling Junkies podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon.